3346. Remember, we have two ears and one mouth, so we can listen twice as much as he speaks. So stay with us as we listen to both sides of the story. 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 Story. Both sides of the 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 story. We always need to hear both sides of the story. 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 Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Hour 106.
To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded.
Like a soft wind sighing, I can hear you, my darling. I can hear Jamaica calling, calling, calling to me. O'er the sea, across the ocean, oh bright summits of emotion. I can hear Jamaica calling, calling, calling to me. There's There's a song in the sea. It's the moon and I confiding, letting you know that I'll come for sunny eyes. We're a star, we shine when the moon comes riding. I can hear you then, my darling. I can hear Jamaica calling, calling, calling. There's a song in the sea. It's the moon and I confiding, letting you know that I'll come for sunny eyes. We're a star, we shine when the moon comes riding. I can hear you then, my darling. I can hear Jamaica calling, calling to you and me.
We started out this afternoon with a poem entitled To Laugh Often and Much. To Laugh Often and Much by Ralph, Ralph, Waldo, Waldo, Emerson, Emerson. Ralph Waldo Emerson, the author of To Laugh Often and Much. That's how we started this afternoon, and we paired To Laugh Often and Much with Jamaica Calling by Jimmy Tucker. We are still in the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, the Decade of Action for Road Safety, and the International Decade of Indigenous Languages. It's the 23rd day of the 7th month of 2024. Put another way, we could say it's the 23rd day of the 2nd month of the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. And we heard something, and we haven't been able to check it yet, but let's just say we should continue just doing all that is supposed to be done and try our best in between situations that we have to deal with, that we are constantly making amends, restoring, rebuilding, etc. That has to be continuous insofar as that is possible with the resources that are available. But we give thanks nonetheless. All right. Bata's Fiesta is on in Equatorial Guinea. It's Martyrs' Day in Armenia, National Children's Day in Indonesia, National Hot Dog Day in the USA, Revolution Day in Egypt. Rastafarians around the world are marking the birthday of Haile Selassie, and National Nurses Week, I believe I need to double check. I think it's round about this time or this week or this period. And we want to use the opportunity to salute our nurses wherever in the world they are and thank them for their service. And we extend that, well, let's allow the nurses to have their time. So, and if you need to take a break, take a break. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, because there's a thing called self-preservation, in as much as that is possible. Self-preservation. So it is Tuesday, the 23rd of July, 2024, and we greet you well wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices, and that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15. Whether you're overseas or in Jamaica, everybody wants their little piece of yard. Well, that's where a JMMB back mortgage comes in. With JMMB, you'll get more support, more incentives, more benefits, more coverage with JMMB insurance brokers. And also, we give you more time to repay. Your JMMB mortgage expert will answer all of your questions and guide you through every step along the journey. You're not alone with JMMB. Contact us at info@jmmb.com and learn how you can get more than just a mortgage.
When the summer sun is just too much, cool down with frosty escapes and delicious summer recipes, all in the Gleaner's Summer Cookbook, Island Flavor, on July 25. Get expert tips on how to beat the heat in the kitchen and make the summer meals your best ever. Buy the Thursday Gleaner, July 25, for your own copy.
like a soft wind sighing. I can hear you, my darling. I can hear Jamaica calling, calling to me. O'er the sea, across the ocean, oh bright summits of emotion. I can hear Jamaica calling, calling to me. There's a song in the sea. It's the moon and I confiding. letting you know that I'll come towards sunny eyes, where a star is shining. When the moon comes riding, I can hear you then, my darling. I can hear Jamaica calling, calling, calling. There's a song in the sea. It's the moon and I confiding, letting you know that I come towards sunny eyes, where a star is shining. When the moon comes riding, I can hear you then, my darling.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world, and taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. And hello to Nicola. We saw a message from you. Thank you very much for checking in, and all the very best. And so Nicola says, well, I don't think she wants all of this message on the air, but it's good to catch up with you, Nicola, and all the very best. And we also have Bob Arts TV on board. And Horace, otherwise known as Spider, says NWC say water is life, but if you owe the NWC, they will cut off your water. And remember, they say water is life. I guess in their opinion, money is more important than life. And the message goes on, how can we change the way how mankind think on this earth? And remember, this is not a private sector organization. This is the government who owns NWC, or I should say we. There is a lot to correct in this world. And yet another message. The PM said he has the technology to track down people on social media, especially those who are saying bad things about him. Something is missing there. Oh, here we go. All my life, never have I seen someone use their mouth and burst someone's head, yet never see someone use their mouth and box down anyone. Yet the gun is Jamaica's problem, not bloggers on social media. Why the PM invest in something like that? What about the guns that criminals are using to take out Jamaicans? That is what the government should be tracking, the guns, not the bloggers. I honestly don't know what is the government's priority. It's like the country is running on autopilot. Some people could say the inmates have taken over the asylum. That's a famous quotation. And that's from Horace, otherwise known as Spider. I don't think he owns the quotation, but he has used it a few times. And this one, the restoration drive continues, and we're being encouraged to play our part if we haven't done so already. Hurricane Beryl Relief, Jamaica. And we've been sharing with you some of the items on the needs list, and also pointing out the drop-off locations and dates. This is being led by 3 organizations, is it? Jaja Foundation, the Union of Jamaican Alumni Associations, and Trans-Carib Express Shippers. So you can Google any one of those and get more information. All right, let's see, going up the line here now. We have Angelia Christian checking in with us. The Angel Foundation, UKJA, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information Services, Jamaica, on a mission, 13th of September, for 17 days with 3 therapeutic specialists to schools in Jamaica to empower students through tools of support. Students dealing with trauma and reduce by address trauma and reduce violence by addressing the root cause of violence and provide these students Please, if you can support Angel Foundation UKJA project, for I have already provided accommodation, just looking for donation for meals, make a donation, etc. So this from the Angel Foundation. And let's see who else. Let's see who else is communicating with us. We'll plan to deliver those another time, says Nicola. And let's see. 876-365-3346, the text line, same as the WhatsApp number. And the regular call-in lines, 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. So the lines are open. And we're actually doing a bit of a special edition of both sides of the story this afternoon, making a connection with the rich cultural history of Jamaica. And one of them is Rossi's High School. More than 250 years ago, on this day in 1764, the will of the founder of Rossi's High was written. So who was this man? Martin Rousset was a French refugee to Jamaica who left all his real and personal estate for the establishment of a free school in the parish, in grateful remembrance of the hospitality shown him during his residence in the colony of Jamaica. Martin Rousset's real and personal estate realized £2,700. Some sources put the figure as high as £4,500. Here's some background. Martin Rousset was a Protestant. The Protestants were opposed to some fundamental aspects of Catholic theology. They emerged across Europe. In France, the birthland of Martin Rousset, they were known as Huguenots. In French, Huguenots, but in English, Huguenots. Thousands were killed during the period of religious intolerance, most notably on the 24th of August, 1572, which became known as St. Bartholomew's Day. The Edict of Nantes, for a time, had allowed Huguenots to live in relative peace and to enjoy freedom of worship. It was repealed in 1685 by Louis XIV. As a result, some 200,000 fled to other places in Europe and to America. Some came to Jamaica. Of these, Martin Rousset ended up in Lucy. Martin and his brother John were on their way to settle in a French West Indian island. Martin became ill and the brothers were put ashore in Lucy. Martin was nursed back to health by missionaries aided by slaves. He settled in Lucy and became prosperous. He never married. His will stated, in grateful recollection of the hospitality manifested toward him in the colony. After his death, his relatives contested the will. It was finally settled by an act of the British Parliament in 1777.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30.
Big Money Bingo! It's here again when the RGR and Net Pearlers present Big Money Bingo with Winston Casanova. Win big cash prizes of $100,000 from our sponsors. Carrot Choice Pharmacy, Black Diamond Funeral Services and Supplies, Affirm Ambulance Service, Globe Scope Travel Vacations, and 876 Nurses. Prizes and surprises from Cows Manufacturing Bakery, the Educational Network. Get your tickets now at RGR Gleaner 32 Lyndhurst Road and the Gleaner Company for only $1,500. Only $1,500. Big Money Bingo! Friday, August 2, 2024 at 7 North Street. You hear? August 2, 7 North Street starting at 7 p.m. when DJs hang out. Enough vibes, prizes, and surprises at Big Money Bingo!
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. So his estate was disposed of and money put into a trust fund. The proceeds of his real and personal estate realized £4,500 for establishment of a free school in Hanover. At first, the trust managed the business of the school, including setting up school examinations, code of conduct, admissions and dismissals of students, as well as appointment of masters and later masters and mistresses. The trust paid the tuition of foundation students who could not afford to pay. The original school was located across from the clock in the Spanish Town Square for 123 years. It is now the site of the Wesleyan Church, which bought the property for £450. In 1862, the English government gave Fort Charlotte and its barracks to the people of Jamaica, and in 1900, Rossies moved to Long Barracks. The 1912 hurricane completely destroyed the upper floor. It was refurbished, and Long Barracks became the educational center of the town in 1914, when it housed the infant school, the elementary school, and Rossies High School. Rossies now operates from two campuses, Watson Taylor for Forms 3 to 6, and Long Barracks, Fort Charlotte, from Forms 1 to 2. The school has passed through various name changes. Among the names, Rossies Free School, Rossies Comprehensive High School. This was in 1982, consequent on a merger between Rossies High School and Hanover Secondary School. Rossies High School's motto is Labor Omnia Vincit, labor conquers all. So that's a bit of our history, education history, the history of our educational institutions. And the focus was just now on Rossies High School, what we now know as Rossies High School. Another significant happening on this day, and this time in 1865, William Booth, B-O-O-T-H, William Booth founded the Salvation Army on this day in 1865. Here in Jamaica, the Salvation Army was started on December 15, 1887, when Colonel and Mrs. Abram Davies, their 5 children, and Captain Mark Saunders, who was blind, arrived in Jamaica from England and officially started what we now know as the Salvation Army on the lawns of the Myrtle Bank Hotel in Kingston, which is where you would now find the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Such is the nature of the history. And there's a lot more to come as we continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. And we're taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. As we continue, again, when you have to reference the history of different developments in the world, you cannot escape Jamaica. Jamaica is all over the globe. All over the globe. And for those who are lovers of history, it is like what do they call it? A sweet shop or something to that effect. Because then you have everything that you like around you. So we're happy to be able to respond to the needs of those who love the history, while at the same time giving due regard to those who prefer otherwise, which is fine. That's what makes the world a beautiful place, isn't it? So it is. Another case in point in terms of the history of the world tying into Jamaica. 1903, on this day in 1903, the Ford Motor Company sold its first automobile, the Model A. The first two-cylinder Ford Model A was delivered to its owner, Dr. Ernest Fenning of Chicago, on this day in 1903. 5 years later, and Jamaica was in the picture. That's right. On January 15, 1908, an agreement was signed between the Ford Motor Company and Kingston Industrial Garage, KIG. O.K. Henriquez signed on behalf of KIG. This gave Kingston Industrial Garage the distinction of being the oldest Ford dealership in the world outside of the United States of America. The original garage was on Pechon Street, but during World War II, it was moved to larger premises on Church Street. An article in the Ford Motor Company's Dealers Beacon, dated July 1951, states that in its first year, Kingston Industrial Garage was to sell 25 Model T Ford cars per year. After 4 weeks, the quota was met, and an order for 75 motor cars was sent to Ford that year. Henry Ford is alleged to have cabled back, saying, advice was sent to Ford that year. Henry Ford, as we said, he cabled back. At the time, that was the technology they used to communicate, cable. And Henry Ford is alleged to have cabled back, saying, advise if I should enlarge my factory to take care of your requirements. But back to the Model A. The Model A was the result of a partnership between Henry Ford and Detroit coal merchant Alexander Malcolmson. Ford had met Malcolmson while working in Edison's illuminating company. Malcolmson sold him coal. The Model A, designed primarily by Ford's assistant C. Harold Wills, was the affordable runabout that Ford needed to begin marketing his company's stock. In the next year, Ford raised enough stock to release a line of cars and to incorporate as the Ford Model Company. Ford's company grew quickly, but it wasn't until the release of the Model T that Ford took the position of our nation's largest car maker. The Model T kept Ford number one in the industry until production was stopped in 1927, and Ford relinquished its place to Chevrolet. The second Model A, released in November of 1927, was a great success. Between 1927 and 1931, 4.3 million Model A Fords were made. The stylish, dependable, and affordable Model A reaffirmed Ford's position as a premier automaker at the time. Sales for the Model A would never approach those of its forerunner, the Model T, due to the onset of the Depression. As sales slumped, Henry Ford decided to release a new car model in 1932. He introduced the speedy Ford V8, known as the fastest car in the land at the time. Ford would never again regain hegemony atop the car industry. So that's another piece of the history that we just shared here on your program, both sides of the story, Poro 106 FM, and you will always find, invariably find, that in the history of the world, there is a connection somewhere around as far as Jamaica is concerned. Can't escape it. Such is the nature of Jamaica. (1926) Bob Marley's mother, Cedella, was born. She died on April 8, 2008. Following a service at the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, Mrs. Booker Marley was interred beside her son, Bob Marley, at the Marley Mausoleum in 9 Miles, St. Anne. Prime Minister Bruce Golding, through Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Ken Bowe, on April 28, 2008, announced that Cedella Marley Booker would be posthumously awarded the Order of Distinction. Dr. Bowe made the announcement while officiating for Prime Minister Bruce Golding at Cedella Marley Booker's funeral ceremony at the Ethiopian Orthodox Church on Maxfield Avenue. 1938, store clerks in 17 of Montego Bay's 19 stores walked off their job at 6 p.m., refusing to work until 9 p.m., as they are required to do. The walkout surprises and shocks the store owners, even though a circular was sent to them earlier in the afternoon by the Northern Clerks Association, which read, "No clerk in your store will work after 6 p.m. on Saturdays. You will not cause an issue to be forced if you close your door at 6 o'clock this evening and ever after." Philip Siaga, manager of the R. Hanna and Sons store, describes the circular as impertinent and their action as dictatorial. And at a meeting later in the night, other unionized workers in Montego Bay decided they would not purchase any goods from these stores until conditions improve. I would imagine we used to be stronger than this, because to have made that decision back in 1938, not to purchase any goods from those stores. I wonder how many would do that today. Let's take the break and come back.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45. Here is a financial literacy tip from your friends at Power 106 FM. Start an emergency fund. A mantra in personal finance is pay yourself first, which means saving money for emergencies and your future. This simple practice keeps you out of trouble financially and helps you sleep better at night. Life happens, and we do not always have control over when expenses arise. By having an emergency savings account, unexpected finances won't force you to incur debt or throw you too far off your financial plan. To determine the amount you should save, figure out how much you spend each month. Once you get into the habit of saving money, you will stop treating savings as optional and start treating it as a required monthly expense.
You, my darling, I can hear Jamaica calling, calling to me. For the sea across the ocean, oh bright summits of emotion. I can hear Jamaica calling, calling to me. There's a song in the sea. It's the moon and I confiding, letting you know that I'll come towards sunny eyes, where our star is shine when the moon comes.
Let's greet some of our listeners in the meantime as we get ready to hear from you on 876 922 4112 to 5 and the text line 876 365 3346. Good afternoon, Jeannie Chambers. Thank you very much for checking in. Faye Weller, good afternoon to you too. Valerie Weller Peck is online. Mike Montgomery, hello to you. Audrey Smith in Southampton in England. Thank you very much for checking in as well. Sherry Henry says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan and listeners. Keep up the good work. Very kind, Sherry Henry. Inez Iona Campbell says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan, viewers and listeners. Sending happy birthday wishes to my granddaughter, Tassania D'Souza, here in Bridgeport, Connecticut, USA. Happy birthday, Tassania D'Souza in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Also, Cheryl Chensu, good afternoon to you too. She says, good day, Sir Malcolm, sending blessings and prosperity to you and your program. Very kind of you to say, Cheryl, thank you. And keep those comments coming in, 876-922-4112 to 5, 876-922-4112 to 5. Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Let's get back to some more history here. So just a reminder that predial larceny, or theft of agricultural produce and related matters, has been with us for some time. Because on this day in 1942, because of an unprecedented upsurge of larceny of fruit and food and animals from farms in recent weeks, the governor issued an order under the predial larceny defense regulations, providing for the sentencing of predial thieves to a term not exceeding 3 months or to a fine not exceeding £10. And if the guilty person is a male, he is to be whipped. Not sure how much of that was carried out, but it happened on this day in 1942, right here in Jamaica. And another piece of history here, 1945, J.E. Webster had purchased the Barbican property in St. Andrew for £65,000 and had cut it in half-acre lots for sale. And it would be, he said, the most fashionable district in the corporate area. He also announced he would reserve a section of the property for the construction of a hotel. Now, I wonder where exactly is being referred to here. The Barbican property that was purchased. We'll have to dig a bit more into that. The Barbican property in St. Andrew was purchased by J.E. Webster for £65,000. I wonder if there's anyone who knows which property that is, because they just simply put the Barbican property. We'll have to keep digging. And let's go to 1948. The U.S. Army authorities in Jamaica announced plans to construct a 4-lane highway to Kingston from its air and naval base in Vernam Field in South Clarendon, along the present main road, from where it joins the turnoff to Vernam Field outside of Maypen. When completed, he said, the highway would be the permanent property of the Jamaican government. This project is part of new developments being considered by the U.S. to improve its defensive plans of the countries in the Western Hemisphere. So that's another announcement that was made. Not sure how much of it came to light or came to fruition or manifested, but we'll have to do some follow-up research. We definitely have to do that. I know that's something we don't do enough of. Follow up. Let's see. Let's go back into the archives and come back out and see what we find. Let's see. 1952, revolution erupted in Egypt as the military took power in a bloodless coup. The following year, the monarchy was abolished, and for the first time since the pharaohs, Egypt was again ruled by Egyptians. That's 1952 in Jamaica. The Jamaica Junior Chamber of Commerce, the JCs, as its constitution provided for it to be called, was inaugurated at a meeting held at the Kingston Parish Library. Presiding was George Atala, a member of the founding committee who was later elected its founding president. Membership is open to men of good character between the ages of 21 and 40 who were interested in the encouragement and advancement of understanding and goodwill, and in providing an avenue of education and participation for all young men in leadership training. The solution of civic problems by arousing civic consciousness and the discussion of social, economic, and cultural questions. An interim executive to serve until next Friday was elected with Atala, consisting of Richard Mahfood, first vice president, Danny Williams, second vice president, Clinton D'Souza, secretary, and Clive Morin, treasurer. Members of the founding committee were Atala, Mahfood, Williams, Dick Pixley, and Dr. Warren Robinson. So that's an insight into commerce, and in particular, the junior chamber and the role that it played in the stewardship of resources in the city. And we also have some information here. Just a reminder, members of the Ethiopian World Federation celebrate the birthday of Haile Selassie Negus of Ethiopia at the Ward Theatre. That was in 1941. Celebration was organized by Paul Earlington. Vivian Durham was a guest speaker. And let's share a little bit more with you if you don't mind. Let's see. Okay, how about ice cream? Anybody for ice cream? We'll come back to that in a moment. Let's take some more of your calls. 876-922-4112-5. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm.
Welcome, Neville Carter.
Yeah, good afternoon to your listeners and your callers.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Malcolm, the incident that occurred last night at the Apple Tree Station.
Yes.
They didn't handcuff the gentleman time into the prison, to the jail.
Well, the question was asked by one of our journalists, and the question was no. And then they moved on or tried to move out. I don't know if they were moving back to the scene or moving to the the office itself. But
Mr. Malcolm, it's
mhm,
not the first time the police makes these type of mistakes, you know.
mhm.
It tells you that most of these police officers, they are not really well trained, you know.
Yeah,
You
well,
know what?
sorry, go ahead.
You know what is the qualification to become a police?
Tell us, please.
Well, what I know is that you have to have at least 5 TXC.
Hmm.
And then you go to the training camp for about 6 months. And then you become a police.
Hmm.
And you take it from there.
Oh.
Because you charge a man for fraud, right?
Hmm.
And when you charge people for fraud, you know, it's a serious offense, you know.
Hmm.
And you taking him to lock him up. But because he's not a black man, you don't handcuff him because you trust him as a big businessman. And then he may not
Yes.
kill you.
The on the point of black man, he is a black Jamaican.
He's a black Jamaican man.
Hmm.
You see him photo with someone from?
From what I have seen, yes.
What is his name?
I don't remember. Mm.
Chim, something like Chim.
Mm. Well, it doesn't matter too much what the name is, but
Mr. Malcolm, are we all equal in this country?
mm,
You think we are all equal and treated like equal?
yeah, well, there's a school of thought that says none is equal than any other.
And when you look in America, the Secret Service head resigned because of what happened to Donald Trump.
Hmm.
Then Donald Trump is not the only person who nearly get gunshot. There are people who get gunshot and dead. Some American bomb.
Mm.
And the Gaza Strip, since Donald Trump's assassination attempt, is about 200
Yes, it's
Palestinian bomb up since then by American bombs.
it's yes, I read that. Hold on, please.
Contractors, developers, and small builders. Look at Coast to Coast Group of Companies for high quality concrete products. The time by Coast to Coast Group of Companies is
3 o'clock. Whether you're overseas or in Jamaica, everybody wants their liquor piece of yard. Well, that's where a JMMB back mortgage comes in. With JMMB, you'll get more support, more incentives, more benefits, more coverage with JMMB insurance brokers. And also, we give you more time to repay. Your JMMB mortgage
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Mr. Neville Carter is on the line. Thanks for holding.
Yes, Mr. Malcolm, one of the reasons why the Secret Service said that to resign was because they said that the Secret Service agent took too long to kill the gunman who tried to assassinate Donald Trump. As if they are not proper well schooled.
No, the main part had to do with the, what do you call it? That's line of sight in relation to the positioning of the protective, what you call it, protective blanket, for want of a better expression.
Oh, so they want to throw the man, right?
Yeah.
That's what you said.
Right. Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Malcolm, you see how one like Donald Trump, his life is more valuable than mine.
No, it's just that is how it is in terms of when you have to when you have in your care those in leadership who have to be managed and protected. They just have to do what they have to do.
I understand you clearly, my professor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mr. Malcolm, National Housing Trust, they are active on the ground now looking for over $600 million from contribution deduction from small businesses across the island. You hear about it?
Yes, I have.
And imagine the NHT have money up there sitting down in its reserve that can fix all the house that them will blow off in Jamaica during the Hurricane Berry. And a lot of contributors cannot access it.
But don't they have a program now? Don't they have a post Hurricane Beryl restoration program?
Grants.
Yes.
They have grants on the ground, Mr. Malcolm.
Mm.
Free money that you can go in once you're an NHT contributor and carry your documents and the processes and them come inspect your property and you get a grant. But a lot of the people taking out money out of the people and pay and not pay it over to the housing trust. And it's causing a big problem.
Well, that's another matter. That's a long-standing problem which we are yet to overcome.
In 1930 here,
based
on the article that you just read, the people them say they're not buying anything at those places until they rectify the working condition. Am I true?
Words to that effect, yes.
That's what we should be doing now with these businesses.
Yeah, well, that's the difference between Jamaica back then and Jamaica now. Because
that mindset change, Mr. Malcolm, that radical switch.
Because it's a function of culture. It's what the culture at the time accepted or otherwise.
Mr. Malcolm, anything you tell me on this program, I believe you. We are selfish people, Mr. Malcolm.
That is.
Jamaican people selfish, and I'm talking average term.
No, I don't think it's unique. Selfishness is unique to Jamaicans. I think it's a function of situations and a function of how individuals in those situations handle the process.
Mr. Malcolm, when you look at what happened to Joe Biden, right? You see the sickness that Joe Biden has?
Oh, it has been named?
Yes, Mr. Joe Biden, you know, them have a medical place at the White House. But take time and day, doctor visit Joe Biden, you know, Mr. Malcolm.
Really?
Yes. And Mr. Malcolm, you have a disease. You have Alzheimer's.
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 Mm-hmm.
When you can't remember, do you want to use the restroom, you know, Mr. Malcolm?
So do you have the record of the condition of the president?
If I have the record. No, Mr. Malcolm.
Or was there an official announcement or declaration made on that?
Yes, Mr. Malcolm, I don't know what you call official,
Mm-hmm.
because the information comes from different sources that he has dementia.
Yeah.
And one of the reporters says his brain is turning soup.
No, that's rather vulgar, though.
Yeah. But that disease there where you start losing memories, Mr. Malcolm, is one of the most devastating diseases I see in Jamaica. And we must all remember that we are vulnerable to the same disease, right?
Of course. Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's why people must make sure that things like the social security of the country, the institution like the housing trust, the NIS, the government, those must be properly run in the interest of the population, you know, Mr. Malcolm.
That's what's supposed to happen.
And you can't have a company like JPS who making billions of dollars every year. One hurricane come, and him average people bill. Like him saying you go and work. We are not their slave, Mr. Malcolm.
Mm-mm.
Huh?
You said we're not depraved?
We are not their slaves.
Oh, they're slaves.
Because I do have life for several days in Portmore. And when I get my GPS bill this morning, my bill gone up by $240. How you explain that?
I think that's the in the existing system. If you pay early, I don't remember what.
I pay my bill them early, Mr. Malcolm, but the fact that the point I'm making, since I lose life in Portmore, about 1 week, my bill should be coming down.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be going up.
Yeah, well, I gather that matter is being dealt with now. I don't know if it will be manifestly so, but I gather that there is some discussion taking place.
Mr. Malcolm, we are not being treated fairly as equal in this world, Mr. Malcolm.
And that's why there was some uproar about it. I don't know how long it will last, but people were arguing about it. Jamaicans had been expressing their disgust.
And when to close off with this, the University of the West Indies has invited the Archbishop of the Anglican Church to give him a doctorate at the university. Doctorate degree. You don't read any book to get those degrees. You don't have to write anything.
Your background is windy.
Yeah, I'm in Barbican, Mr. Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm way up in the hills.
Oh.
You hear me better now?
Yes.
I'm saying, when you get an honorable doctorate degree, you don't have to write any thesis to get those degrees, Mr. Malcolm.
No.
They just give you base and your status.
And functions and duties and work.
And when you hear what that man say, oh, the Anglican Church, how much billions of pounds they make out of the slave trade in Jamaica. And all the Anglican Church and the colonial master damage the Jamaican people DNA that it is irreversible.
How? When?
You never hear him Friday.
No, I missed that.
It is in the media, Mr. Malcolm, the Anglican Church. He's admitting that the Anglican Church played a very devastating role in slavery of the black people.
No, yeah, that's.
It's irreversible. Them set with some, Mr. Malcolm. Them set we up from a longer time.
How?
Huh?
How?
Mr. Malcolm, if them brainwash the people, them, or we ever come back together in this 2024 global world where you have World War III and the digital age, or we ever come back and foster unity as a people to prevent them from putting us back under bondage, Mr. Malcolm, how we ever do it?
When have we never come back?
When have we never come back?
Mm-hmm.
Are we back, Mr. Malcolm? When have we come back, Mr. Malcolm? We come back?
As a collection of people.
Yeah, because look, you can't have people out there who blow up in a Clarendon. And when the man from Clarendon come up at the NHT to put in his benefits to get him grant, and them run him payroll, in Clarendon, but don't pay over him payroll to the NHT. I will tell you something there. Mr. Malcolm?
Yeah, that's a problem that has been with us for a long time. And nobody.
But we have a local government minister that gets millions of dollars every year, and we have councillors, and we have MP, and we have a prime minister, and a minister of finance. So what is happening with the cash in the cash flow? Huh?
Well, maybe nothing. Maybe it's just sitting there.
Oh, it's just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Malcolm, I'm going to leave you with this. I want to talk about this further. There's a system that is supposed to unleash in Jamaica. And it doesn't matter who is in power, it has to come in Jamaica. It means the national identification system, the NIT, you know.
Yes.
You see, when the NIT gets serious after the next election and everybody has to go register in order to do certain business under the NIT, and we have to go kill the underworld economy, because the underground economy will have to die once and for all.
All right.
In this system, you know, Mr. Malcolm, you know it will cause problem in Jamaica.
Well, we hope not, but let's see what happens.
So therefore, Mr. Malcolm, the unity that we're going to need in order for every Jamaican to get the real benefit out of this economy. Of people like you, Power 106, Dr. Gale, Ralston Hyman, Dr. Sutherland, this radio station, 2 RGR Cleaner Group. We have to go into the nooks and crannies of Jamaica from Nigel Point to Morris Point and help fix the people in brain, you know, Mr. Malcolm. Because people, grandson and grandchildren, grew up with RGR Cleaner Group information in their brain, you know. And now we reach right at that. And this media house have to rescue the Jamaican people, you know, because we don't see the other media house out there. I try nothing. Me and them a play music. And music, me and them a play, you know, music.
Music does have some value, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it has its value. Everything has its value.
Mm.
But right now we need to sing a different tune. Because when we see a one for the ground, Mr. Malcolm, the figures are not adding up, Mr. Malcolm. Water Commissioner look for money to you, know, Mr. Malcolm.
Hold a moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
17 minutes past 3 o'clock.
Get
early start to your back to school preparations with the Argentina Communications Group Back to School Bazaar, Saturday, July 27th.
Like a soft wind sighing, I can hear you, my darling. I can hear Jamaica calling, calling, calling to me. O'er the sea, across the ocean, oh bright summits of emotion. I can hear Jamaica calling, calling, calling to me. There's a song in the sea. It's the moonlight confiding, letting you know that I'll come towards sunny isle, where a star is shining. When the moon comes riding, I can hear you then, my darling. I can hear Jamaica calling, calling, calling to me.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. Neville Carter is on the line. Yes, Mr. Carter, you were saying?
Water Commission looking for money to, and the
Who
bank
isn't?
huh?
Who isn't?
So it's a welcome. When you say who isn't looking for money?
That's right.
Oh God, wow, some rage. Jamaica calling my people. I hear the banker got the governor of the Bank of Jamaica tell the people themselves. A lot of people getting into bad debt in the banking system. A lot of people can't service them loan. So where is the money, Mr. Malcolm? Hello?
Only those who know can actually tell.
So me ask you a question. Just whisper the answer in my brain. I'm gone. You are looking for money to Mr. Malcolm? Whisper it and tell me.
My position is quite clear.
Talk to me straight, my professor. I don't understand that, sir.
I said what I said.
Repeat it for me, please, sir. I'm a slow learner.
Who isn't?
So we continue.
All right, take care. Thanks a lot for staying with us on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Cuban in Georgia says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. I must agree with Johan Blake. The Jamaican government is a wicked government, both administrations. The tourists gets more The tourists get more respect than ever those in the diaspora. Johan said it best. The Jamaican governments are a wicked set of human beings. Then he goes on to say, Sir Malcolm, the main reason why these Western politicians have to have an entourage of police and security forces everywhere they go is because they know what they have done to the people and what they continue to do, or else they would have to protect their heads because if they slip, they will slide. Well, we're not promoting that kind of behavior. And let's go to this message, or is it this call on our text line, same as the WhatsApp number. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yes, sir, Malcolm. How you doing?
Let's go again, please.
How you doing? Everything good?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I enjoy and never a good while at first. I enjoy you and him conversation so much. No, you say who isn't looking for money, but me I search and I can't find none. So where can I find some?
Where's your faith? Seek and you
Faith?
shall find. Ask and it will be given. Knock and the doors will open.
Yeah, man. Ask and it shall be given. Who can I ask?
You'd be surprised who would be prepared to assist you.
Glad to say that. You know, I say one time, we there somewhere, when we there Jamaica, and we see a guy paying a guy of money. I never forget this as long as I live. And when the man have hand him the money, the man said to him, say, and a friend me look why me I give you this, you know. And because one day you see him on my tell me, I never forget that.
Mm.
Yeah. Anyhow, what we call about, did I hear one news come up we hear some incident at the Aperture police station.
Mm-hmm.
So Malcolm, let me know. If you gonna escort somebody to themselves as a police officer, and you're supposed to have a backup man and a lead man, and I understand it. One up front and one up back, just in case something go wrong. No, the policeman who end up there that can't do what the news is telling us. The man and him getting a tussle and then take the police officer gun from him and kill him and kill himself. But before we reach that stage, what about the other man that was there? What they were doing?
They surrounded each other.
Yeah, but you're supposed to protect your colleague.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get a picture there.
Protect which one of the colleagues now?
No, the one that the guy and him kill. When the man him get into a fight, when he can't toss him, I try to pull the gun from you and you try defend yourself. And them said a police officer was there, that police officer was there. So my question, what he was there doing?
Playing his role. No doubt he will tell you he was doing his duty.
Doing duty, your colleague done.
Who gets up in the morning and goes out and sets out to kill his colleague?
No, he's not. That you will do it intentionally. But you should be more, should be more active in protecting him. Because once you see him hold on to him, your job is to do what you have to do to protect him.
We hear you.
So if I were the person in charge of the investigation, I have a lot to tell me.
Yeah, in this life, there's a thing called accountability, and we have to be held accountable one way or another.
Well, let's see it work out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I hear Mr. Neville telling you that RGR feeding us with information on other station is playing music. Now they tell him say music have the value. And him say Then we start singing a different tune. So when you start singing a different tune?
Whenever the need arises.
Okay, boss. You know and clear.
Okay.
So, what the light and water thing about Jamaica now? Everything is in place now.
I'm not in a position to say that because Westmoreland is still calling, or there are questions being asked with respect to the situations in Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, and Clarendon. I think a little touch of it in Hanover as well.
Yeah, but them tell us over the weekend. I think on Sunday evening I was listening to 6 o'clock news and them say some lineman from other Caribbean island is on the island and more to come in. So what took them so long to get things running with the JPS man them already on the ground.
The exigencies of life.
No, you see, one of the things with Jamaican people and politicians, when them tell us something, you have to wonder if you can hold them to what them say.
Well, you can try. And then depending on how that unfolds, depending on what happens.
Jamaican people have a tendency for patient. If you want to tell me one story in a while and then I work out, how long we going to keep and listen to the story?
That's up to you.
Okay, so it appears what they say about the man from other land there is not true then. Or we have evidence of that?
What's that?
The man from other Caribbean and instead of Cayman, Belize, and where again? I think it was the Guyana.
Mm-hmm.
They already was this.
Yes, I think I heard that story this morning.
Okay, so by weekend everything is okay.
I think that's at least, well, according to the conditions in which they have to operate.
Okay, so if I check back with you Friday, everything should be okay.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see when Friday comes.
So for now you can't give me no concrete word right now.
No,
so
no,
what if I
no.
check it on Monday?
Well, you're free to check.
Okay, well, there's no concrete. Then that time come.
Yes, indeed. We have to go to a break now, though. If you want to hang on. We have to go to a break. We have to go to a break. You're not listening. We have to go to a break.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for the call.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Help us protect Jamaica's borders. Tell us about any illegal guns coming through customs controlled areas. Call Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
3:31 on Power 106.
Welcome to the new dimension in eye care, the Optical Zone, offering exceptionally comfortable eyewear. We fill prescriptions and do eye examinations. This complete optical store is conveniently located at Shop 14, York Plaza, Halfway Tree. Telephone 929-8656. The Optical Zone, providing vision for life.
When the summer sun is just too much, cool down with frosty escapes and delicious summer recipes, all in the Gleaner's Summer Cookbook, Island Flavor, on July 25. Get expert tips on how to beat the heat in the kitchen and make the summer meals your best ever. Buy the Thursday Gleaner, July 25, for your own copy.
For the sea Across the ocean, oh bright summits low.
The listener who goes by the moniker Bunty says, "Good day, Mr. Malcolm. It is a free country, but please, Neville, give the station a break. Give someone else a chance. Everyone, everyone came. Everyone, uh, what is Bunty trying to say here? Everyone, all right, Bunty, help us with that piece of the wording, please. They have the they have the anger and claim that they are right. Many other need to give someone else a chance. Please tell your caller if you don't have a good suggestion, don't waste time. Don't waste time. Time is precious." And then the message goes on. "Love you all. God knows it all. Stop fighting yourself. God a God. You see, you Neville, you're a comedian," this person says. I would imagine in a friendly tone. And this one from GBO says, "Dervan, I hope this message finds you well. Neville had me in fits of laughter with his aimless rambling. He is a real comedian. However, amidst the humor, he touched on a serious topic, the National Identification System, NIDS. It seems that there is a prevailing sentiment echoed by many like Neville that NIDS is a negative proposal by the government. I believe it is crucial to emphasize the importance of NIDS. One significant challenge we face in our country is accurately identifying individuals during business transactions. NIDS aims to address this issue by providing a secure and reliable means of verification. This, in turn, ensures that interactions with businesses and government entities are conducted with confidence and authenticity." And the message goes on. "The regressive mindset exhibited by some individuals, as highlighted by Neville's views, underscores a broader issue of ignorance within our society. It is clear that we need to prioritize education to cultivate critical thinking skills and encourage a broader perspective. I fervently urge the Ministry of Education to focus on enhancing our educational system from the grassroots level upwards. Empowering our people with the ability to reason and think critically is essential for societal progress. Furthermore, it is imperative to break free from the culture of dependency that needs ingrained dependency that seems ingrained in our collective psyche. By investing in education and fostering independent thinking, we can gradually overcome this mindset and pave the way for a more self-reliant and progressive society. I believe," he says, "that a dual approach, well, whoever is GBO, because I don't think I've ever met GBO, but GBO goes on to say, I believe that a dual approach focusing on the implementation of NIDS and educational reform is crucial for our nation's advancement. Let us strive for a future where informed decisions prevail and where every citizen is empowered to contribute meaningfully to our society." And that's from GBO. Thank you very much, GBO, for your message. And And she says, hope you're well. I'm heading that side shortly. Was hoping to take some items for you, but the guy didn't come to pick the jelly coconuts. We'll plan to deliver those another time, says Nicola. You're very kind, Nicola. Thank you. And so let's continue with more on both sides of the story. 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. Hello to Norman Hines in St. Thomas. Good afternoon, Norman Hines. And Inez Ayona Campbell says, happy anniversary to you both, Mr. and Mrs. Wilson. May many blessings and God's grace, says Inez Ayona Campbell. Keep those messages coming in as we continue with more on both sides of the story, Poro 106 FM. And we're still taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, 876-365-3346. So let's continue to receive those calls and those messages. 876-365-3346. And let's see who else we have here joining us on both sides of the story, Poro 106 FM. And right, so I was saying, what about ice cream? Ice cream. Well, did you know that the ice cream cone was invented by Charles E. Menches during the Louisiana Purchase Exposition in St. Louis, Missouri, on this day in 1904? According to some accounts, Charles E. Menches conceived the idea of filling a pastry cone with 2 scoops of ice cream and thereby invented the ice cream cone. He is one of several claimants to that honor. Ernst Hamwi, Abbé Dumar, Albert and Nick Cabaz, Arnold Fornacieux, and David Availlot all have been touted as the inventor or inventors of the first edible ice cream cone. Increasingly, these individuals have in common the fact that they all made or sold confections at the 1904 Louisiana Purchase Exposition, known as the St. Louis World's Fair. It is from the time of the fair that the edible cornucopia, a cone made from a rolled waffle, vaulted into popularity in the United States. How about that? Another piece of the history there, here on both sides of the story, Poro 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. And who is this now? Stan Grant, who described himself as director of the African Affairs Bureau of the Caribbean and Latin America, introduced a resolution which was passed unanimously by 800 Rastafarians at a meeting at the corner of Laws Street and Rose Lane in Kingston, calling on Premier Norman Manley to use the money being spent by government on the referendum campaign to persuade Jamaicans to vote to remain in the West Indies Federation, to start a study center where African languages can be taught in preparation to go back a yard, i.e., gain repatriation to Africa. So that's 1961. In 1962, the Jamaica Constitution Order in Council was made. The Jamaica Constitution Order in Council was created on this day in 1962. It was laid before Parliament the following day. So, another bit of the history here on your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. And let's see if we can share a bit more for you in on both sides of the story. And let's see. Still have a bit of material and fascinating history. Now, on this day in 1967, the Gleaner published an eye-opening article by Alan Eyre, E-Y-R-E. The article featured an outstanding Jamaican about whom very little was known. Even today, so I've reproduced some of that material in addition to research I've done on my own. He has put it in context for us. On June 20, all right, we're going to take a break and then we'll come back. We'll come back with that bit of history as we continue with more on both sides of the story, Poro 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45. How much do you know about spices and the impact they have on your everyday life? Join us every first and third Thursday during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie at 6:18 a.m. for Spice Up Jamaica. We'll give you tips, tidbits, and interviews about the revitalization and sustainability of the Jamaican spices, including ginger, turmeric, and pimento. That's Spice Up Jamaica every first and third Thursday at 6:18 a.m. during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie, right here on Power 106 FM. Spice Up Jamaica is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture Food for Progress Jamaica Spices Project.
There's a song in the sea. It's the moon and I confiding, letting you know.
And so we were saying it's on this day, 1967, that the Gleaner published an eye-opening article by Alan Eyre, E-Y-R-E. The article featured an outstanding Jamaican about whom very little is known, even today. So we've reproduced some of that material in addition to research we've done on our own. Let's put it in context for you. On June 20, 1901, Charlotte M. Manye, M-A-N-Y-E, of South Africa, became the first native African to graduate from an American university. This was long after 1826, when Jamaica's John Brown Rossworm became the first person of color to graduate from an American university. John Brown Rossworm died on this day in 1851. Forgotten in his native land, he made his mark elsewhere, as published by Alan Eyre, in the Sunday Gleaner of July 23, 1967. On the 1st of October 1799, a Negro Jamaican servant girl named Brown gave birth to a baby boy in the town of Port Antonio. Perhaps our North Coast resort was as welcoming to visiting foreigners then as it is now for the paramour for whom she had the child was a young roving American of aristocratic German descent who had come from Maine, Maine, in the United States to Jamaica some time before. In due course, the child was christened John Brown. This almost forgotten son of Portland became the first colored person ever to receive an American college degree, the world's first Negro to edit a major newspaper, and a crusader for the abolition of slavery. Later, he became editor of the first public newspaper in Black Africa, superintendent of public school in Liberia, and organized the first national census in any African country in modern times. John Brown's childhood was apparently spent in a manner little distinguishable from that of other illegitimate children of the local girls who drifted around seeking affairs with transient foreigners. But it was the good fortune of Brown to have a father with unusual responsibility. While Brown was a schoolboy, his father left Jamaica and returned to Maine, where he married an American woman who showed extraordinary unselfishness. Quite aware of her husband's previous philandering in Jamaica, she insisted that John Brown join the family and take their name. He traveled by way of Canada to Maine and became John Brown Russwurm, Russwurm. So close was the affection and interest shown by Mrs. Russwurm to her stepson that when her husband died and she remarried, she still took the boy with her into her new home and family. In the America of the early 1800s, persons of color were used as domestics, even as far north as New England. But the idea that they should go to college was inconceivable. Nevertheless, his stepmother encouraged John Brown Russwurm, and he entered the famous Bowdoin College as a young man in his 20s. The college records state that he was a great reader with intelligence and that he was generally a hard-working and sensible student. He graduated with a class of 1828, the first person of color ever to receive an American degree. The following year, Russwurm went to live in New York and took up his lifelong love journalism. Within a year, he had become owner and editor of Freedom's Journal. As a young man of 27, he was not surprisingly an ardent advocate of the abolition of slavery and entered the lists vigorously in support of freedom for the enslaved thousands of colored folk less fortunate than himself. Sadly, he never lived to see that day, which was still 40 years in the future. At first, Russwurm was hopeful that one day Negroes and whites alike would achieve equal rights and citizenship of the great country of the United States, with its grand sounding constitution and traditions of individual freedom. On these grounds, he viewed the Back to Africa movement of his own day as a dead end and a step in reverse. And he went on. As we continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, the history is rich. The history is rich. And there's so much more we could share with you. We're going to take a pause there for the moment. Let's take a music break.
I can hear Jamaica calling, calling. There's a song in the sea. It's the moon and I confiding, letting you know that I'm for sunny eyes. We're a star is shining when the moon comes riding. I can hear you then, my darling. I can hear Jamaica.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. This message says, Sir Malcolm, as Mr. Blake said, the disrespect of Jamaicans by the government is disheartening and disgusted, a wicked and evil regime for decades, he says. Rohan Johnson of Atlas in Ocho St. Anne is greeting us on behalf of his daughter, Talia, and Rohan, his father. We wish you well. Horace, otherwise known as Spider, says, I don't know if I'm mistaken, but you can correct me if you can. But it could be a coincidence, but I never heard of GBO doing the time when Crocs from Black River doing his time, texting you on air. Wonder where he is now. That's from Horace, otherwise known as Spider, checking on the whereabouts of Crocs in Black River. We trust Crocs is well, and we wish him all the best. Well, so let's continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. So we're still taking your calls, your comments, your messages, and we look forward to your usual participation here on Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. And we thank you very much for your listenership and support. Let's see. Neville Myton of Excelsior College. On this day in 1964, became the first schoolboy to go under the 1 minute 50-second mark in the 800 meters locally, and the fourth Jamaican to break this barrier when he clocked 1 minute 49.3 in winning this event on the final night of the J3A's National Championships at the National Stadium. And we wish our athletes all the best as they take off and land and go beyond. We pray that they will be safe and productive in their endeavors, and indeed everybody else. As we continue with more on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM, and still taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. As we continue on both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices. And let's see what we have here now. The second recipient of the Musgrave Gold Medal awarded by the Institute of Jamaica, the first being Edna Manley. George Good, with an E, was the second recipient of the Musgrave Gold Medal. We'll come back with more in a moment.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock. Here is a financial literacy tip from your friends at Power 106 FM. Save for retirement now. No matter how young you are, plan for your retirement now. With the power of compound interest, when you start saving in your 20s, you will earn interest not only on the principal you deposit, but also on the interest you earn over time. And you will have what you need to retire someday. Company-sponsored retirement plans are a great choice. Not only do you get to put in pre-tax dollars, but many companies will also match part of your contribution, which is free money. If you don't start early, you may end up needing to work much longer to catch up on your retirement savings.
When the moon comes a-riding, I can hear you then, my darling. I can hear Jamaica calling, calling through you.
Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia, was born on this day in 1891. Emperor Haile Selassie visited Jamaica on April 23, 1966. The day was declared a public holiday in honor of the emperor. At 2:15 p.m., Emperor Haile Selassie was welcomed by acting Prime Minister Sir Donald Sangster. 1966 was the year. And let's see. Who else Who else is hitting us up online? As we continue with more, your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. 1868 was the year in America the 14th Amendment was ratified. On this day in 1868, the amendment granted citizenship to African Americans. And on this day, well, or was it yesterday? Yesterday or last night, there's an African American who was killed in her own home. And this wasn't the first one, eh? What a thing. So this, just trying to, let's see. Let's continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. And the story. So there are some other material online as well, making the connections. So we continue nonetheless here on Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. We're trying to find some other matter that we wanted to share with you, our faithful listeners, here on Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. And so the information that we have here is that body camera video shows Sonia Massey's final moments before she was fatally shot by a deputy. The deputy who shot Massey at her home in Springfield, Illinois, was fired and charged with murder. And so authorities released body camera footage yesterday of Sonia Massey's final moments before she was fatally shot by law enforcement at her home in Springfield, Illinois. Massey, 36, was killed July 6th after she called the Sangamon County Sheriff's Office because she was afraid there might be a prowler outside, according to an attorney for her family and Illinois State Police. Former Sangamon County Deputy Sean Grayson is accused of shooting Massey in the face after he and another deputy were dispatched to her home shortly before 1 a.m. Grayson has been indicted on charges of first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official misconduct, said Sangamon County State's Attorney John Milheiser. Grayson pleaded not guilty last week, according to his lawyer, Dan Fultz, who declined to comment after the body camera footage was released. In the footage, Grayson and a second deputy can be seen knocking on Massey's door a few times until Massey opens it. Please don't hurt me, Massey is heard saying to Grayson. The second deputy was not identified by authorities. Why would I hurt you? You called us, Grayson responded. The deputies tell Massey they checked the area around her house and didn't see anybody, and then ask if she needs help with anything else. Grayson also asked Massey if she's doing okay mentally, to which she answered yes. I love you all, thank you all, Massey said as she was closing her door. The deputies asked her if a black SUV in her driveway with a smashed window was hers, to which she said no, and that someone brought it there. The deputies then went inside Massey's house, where they asked her for her name so they can get out in their language, so they can get out of your hair. Massey then moved to her stove, where she picked up a pot from a burner. The situation escalated when she moved the pot from the stove. Where are you going? She asked the deputies. Away from your hot steaming water, Grayson responded. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, she says. Massey does not approach the deputies with the pot and stays in her kitchen. And there are some expletives in there. You better not. I swear to God, and so on. I will shoot you in your face, Grayson says before pulling out his gun. Okay, I'm sorry, Massey says as she ducks. The second deputy also pulls out his gun. Drop the pot, Grayson screams. 3 gunshots are heard as Grayson continues to yell at Massey to drop the pot. Massey cannot be seen from behind the kitchen counter, but video from Grayson's body camera shows that Massey had let go of the pot when she ducked. The deputies called for emergency personnel. And there's a picture here of Sonia Massey of Springfield, Illinois, with an unidentified boy. The second deputy says he's going to get his kit. Nah, headshot, dude, she's done. Grayson says to him, you can go, get it, but that's a headshot. And it goes on. And this is 2024. That's the year we're in, 2024. And some Americans still have to grapple with these situations. What a thing. What a thing. Let's continue with more on your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. And also, amidst all that's been happening, there's another story. 4 killed in shooting at Georgia home as police probe possible murder-suicide. And that's another of the stories online. And Natalie has messaged us. Always good to hear from you, Natalie. Thank you very much. And we're still taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. Text line same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. This one says, Sir Malcolm, this evil and wicked regime, or do you mean these evil and wicked regimes, have been oppressing people, especially the poor, for centuries, and those men and women are good at untruth, false information, good at corrupt practices, covering up, and greed to full in their craw. Meanwhile, the living lavish lifestyle at the expense of the poor. I'm not sorry for any of them. The only words to describe these evil regimes and wicked who will go into the rubbish heap of what Martin Luther King said. That's a quotation attributed to Martin Luther King Jr. and shared by Cuban in Georgia. Thank you for your messages. 876-922-4112-5 are the numbers to call. Text line and the WhatsApp number are one and the same, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. So we'll keep it going here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. And we'll go to a break and come back with much more in just a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15. Are you looking for a powerful platform to promote your business in North America or the UK? Look no further than The Gleaner. Reach the diaspora and ignite brand awareness through our geo-targeted publications. Call 876-922-3400 or your Gleaner representative to explore the available options and book your ads. Or email us at advertising@gleanerjm.com. Actualize your brand's potential today with The Gleaner, where life unfolds. Power 106 FM, the digital sound, and now reaching you in more ways. Listen to us on 106.1 to 106.9 on the FM band. You can also listen to us on the Power 106 FM app, which you can download on the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can tune in on your mobile phones by dialing 631-359-8281 if you're in the US. And if you're in the UK, you can dial 0330-606-0953. Plus, listen to us on onespotmedia.com and the OneSpot Media app, or log on to go-jamaica.com. Power 106 FM, where all views can contend, giving you powerful talk radio in so many ways, on air and online.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaner's website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices. And we're taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. What's on your mind this afternoon? Please feel free to share. We'll be more than happy to oblige. And or your messages that have popped up already are on YouTube and Facebook Live. Thank you very much for joining us online streaming. We appreciate you and thank you very much for your interest and commitment to the program, both sides of the story. And so the lines are still open, 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. And we trust that full restoration will be achieved as far as your electricity supply is concerned. Those of you who are using other devices to connect to hear your radio and monitor other media out there, feel free to fill us in and let us know what is happening or not happening in your area. We'd love to know what is happening where you are. Are all the public utilities up and running where you are? Would love to know and would want you to share that information with us so we get an understanding of what is happening or not happening in sections of the island and how big a problem is it. Wayne Thompson says, good afternoon, Dervan. Good afternoon, Wayne Thompson. How are you? Good of you to connect with us. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. And Blanchard 23, thank you very much for logging on as well. Wayne Thompson says, I am well. That's good to know. Good to know that you're well here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. He says, giving thanks. And aren't we all? We have a lot to be grateful for. Thank you very much. As we continue with more on the program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, and taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. But we seriously want to know what's happening in your area. Please, if you, without jeopardizing your life, but if it is safe so to do, would love to hear from you with respect to the information that's coming out of your area. What's happening in your area? What are you seeing around you? And what is up and running? What is down and needing a lift? Have all the posts or poles been planted? Is there work still being done in that regard? We would love to know so that we can share with our listeners here on both sides of the story. So we'll be more than happy to share, to transmit the information for you, especially in instances where there is no transmission. So we need your help in that regard in gathering the data so we have an idea of what is happening where and how and when. How about that? Would love to hear from you. Those of you who are on the ground in Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Hanover, Manchester, Clarendon. And yes, we know you are busy, you have issues to deal with, and we're not saying you're to put down your issues and come and feed us with information. We're humbly submitting that you, if you're able to, insofar as is possible, share some information with us in terms of what's happening in your area. Just basic information. What are you seeing around you? What are the conditions like right now? Do you still have a lot of debris to deal with? How are the repairs coming along? How are families doing? Are care packages still being distributed? Are there other arrangements that are being made? What about a nice, comfy bed to sleep in, for example? Do we know the extent to which our people are benefiting from that? Do we know that? We need to get that information. We'd love to get that information as well. So in the meantime, the numbers to call 876-922-4112-5. That's 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. So we continue with more here on both sides of the story. Power 106 FM, still trying to solicit from you, our faithful listeners, how things are going in your area, in your household, in your community. Want to get a sense of what's happening so that we can share the information. To the phone lines once again, 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm.
Good afternoon.
Let me first give a shout out to all of the farmers in a radio land who have suffered through this hurricane that passed through 20 days now, you know?
Yes.
I'd reach out to them and sympathize with them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What is happening for the past 1 week and a half? Floor line down in our office.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You mean is that
lack of
sorry?
Somebody.
Is that on as far as internet is concerned, or?
Well, yeah, a part of the internet thing, you know.
Okay.
All right, my little overview on how I see the agricultural sector. You know, I'm a farmer.
Yes.
Very proud farmer for the past 42 years. We're going 42 years now, you know.
You're batting well.
Well, yeah, I enjoy doing that because I know the importance of farming. I don't only love farming because because I know the importance of it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my personal input, you know, the agricultural sector is one of the sectors that suffer when there's an hurricane because it's exposed to the wind.
Mm-hmm.
As much as we know that Mother Nature and government cannot stop it, something could put in place long time ago.
No, you have a good point. Actually, it's something I've been thinking about for years, especially the times that I've been involved in covering hurricanes and so on. As my thinking is, okay, so sure, go ahead.
After the passing of Gilbert,
Mm-hmm.
1988, 36 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
government along with the private sector could put in food security, food security along with food security and storing and food storing. The diaspora would get involved because they love us more than we love ourselves. I am a Rastaman, I'm not a politician, but the only government, the only prime minister I see over the period of time do anything for me is Michael Manley. Because in the 70s, I could remember the ANC market would come in my era at every month, and they would buy this stuff off of the farmer. And after them buy it at a very cheap price, but it would used to help, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And after they do that, no, they would have go. So if government, along with the private sector and the diaspora, before what I said, is really look outside the box. It's like when there's a hurricane, what we would have done, we would have been able to pick some of our produce, and then government could buy it, and after the hurricane, government again, because we have thousands of igla in Jamaica, government again would have sell back those produce to the igla. You know, I am saying, Mr. Malcolm, agriculture is one among the greatest thing in a Jamaica. Yeah. It contributes so much growth. Oh, I'm asking, what is government doing to farmer? We know that the government has no control over certain things, but why they don't, that is something that they should have. Our developing country work their way to agriculture by putting the people to work and pay them well. Thank you very much. You're coming.
Yes, you're onto something. It's something we have talked about for years and years and years. But I don't know. Is it that the farmers are not very well supported, or what? I'm curious to find out, because this kind of discussion.
It's like we are now know that we are in climate change, and everything happens now in climate change. That is why I am saying, if they was looking outside the box from 1988, they would see the importance. And them have the EMC market, and also what they hear them after they don't know what to do with the EMC market. What they should have done is expand. They should expand the EMC market and put it in our food storage. You know?
All right, hold on. Let's hold a moment. We need to take a commercial break. Let's take the break and come back to you.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now 4:30. With over 40 years of record service, Lock Safe and Vault Limited is your trusted security provider. Get affordable prices on a wide variety of seals, garage doors, access control supplies, magnetic lock, fingerprint, weatherproof keypads, card access system, time attendance, power supplies, and exit buttons. Professional services provided. Visit 40 Shortwood Road, Kingston 8. Problem solved with Lock Safe and Vault.
Thank you very much for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm, and we have one of our farmers on the line right now. Thank you for holding. You were explaining your...
Michael Manley was the one who established the PC Bank, as much as I know for small farm. In my era, a lot of farmers who was unable to own their own land would get all these land, you know. So this that thing about politics, you know. That's why I don't deal with it, you know. When there's a government came in and them do something good. When there's a change of government, they do build power with the government. You know.
I have to tell you though, that has changed over the years, you know. As bad as things are, it has changed. There's an indication that there have been changes.
Yeah, they divert from what that farmer government set up. And sometimes what they set up is not in the best interest of our farmers. If government would put half of what they put in tourism, it would be very surprising in the next 5 years to see the big things in Jamaica. So I am saying that the lip start no work. How can you tell us that you care? When we look about, you see all our bright people them live in the country. One thing I'm glad to hear that the Minister of Education is trying to recruit some Africans from Nigeria and Ghana. I love that. Because we will get to really meet our brothers within this time, you know. Mr. Malcolm, have a nice day, yeah?
You too. Thanks for the call.
All right.
Every time. Take care. Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. And what does Franklin McDonald have for us today? We'll find out in a little while. And we will let you, our faithful listeners, know exactly what's happening. And that's it. So he has shared with us some information on counting on portable solar panels for disaster relief. Counting on portable solar panels for disaster relief. And by the way, these conversations should be continued. In other words, we have a storm and it came and went, and we think, all right, that's done and dusted. And it could very well be done and dusted. But how do we keep the conversations going? How do we keep the general attitude going in trying to be as consistent as possible so that our work can be as sustainable as possible? Right, so the information here, counting on portable solar panels for disaster relief. So it says here, the lives of people are significantly affected by different types of natural catastrophes, including hurricanes, earthquakes, and wildfires. These powerful natural forces frequently damage electrical lines, shut down power plants, and generally disrupt daily life. Restoring electricity as soon as feasible is the first stage in disaster recovery. Solar power is frequently one of the few technologies that may be used to do this. As a result, solar energy may be quite important in many situations, including disaster aid. As a result, it is crucial that sufficient solar energy resources be accessible under such dire circumstances. And the blog goes on, solar power during disaster can help with communication line activation. Restoring connectivity to these zones is crucial for starting relief activities. Internet connections, phone lines, short-range radio, and cellular signal towers are crucial. The results might be disastrous if things do not soon go back to normal. Sadly, there are still instances where emergency services are delayed because there is zero communication to the area of the catastrophe. Responders can quickly determine the locations where assistance is most required by re-establishing these communication channels. Additionally, they are essential in organizing rescue and relief activities. Assisting shelters. Shelters are vital buildings that offer emergency victims temporary lodging. First and foremost, they offer weather protection in areas where dwellings are damaged or unusable. Emergency shelters can also offer at least some electricity to power essential daily functions. Due to this, shelters can access lighting and warmth, which adds to their comfort and security. Additionally, the shelter's emergency facilities for the ill and injured may be powered by solar energy. Next section, improving the victim's quality of life. Many a times, disaster zones have a lack or even a total absence of utilities. This is especially true for rural and challenging to access places. It can take a number of months for these communities to fully recover and get back to their feet. Therefore, solar energy has the potential to significantly lessen the plight of displaced families. Portable solar panels can, for example, restore enough electricity so that people may live their daily lives comfortably. A larger solar power solution may even offer sufficient energy to power an entire neighborhood. Thus, portable solar panels can help make the transition more endurable for individuals and families affected by disasters. Now, how do you ensure sustainability? Well, there's a section here of the document sent to us from Mr. McDonald that says promoting sustainability. In the past, fossil fuel powered generators provided the majority of emergency electricity. These generators were often rather inefficient and required gas to operate. Solar PV systems offer a more efficient and sustainable alternative to these. Operating solar arrays is also handy because there is no need to look for fuel to power the system continually. This is especially helpful in regions where access to gasoline and transportation may be highly limited. And there's another area of concern here, solar power for disaster. Real-life applications of portable solar panels in disaster relief. And this information now out of Kathmandu, the capital city of Nepal. Kathmandu, the capital city of Nepal, was severely affected by a catastrophic flood that ravaged the country during 2015. In the aftermath, the non-profit organization called Sun Farmer donated water purifiers, solar panels, and solar-powered systems for the rehabilitation of the remote villages and hilly areas in the country. Sun Farmer supplies solar batteries and powers to underdeveloped countries. Its solar technology served as a catalyst in Kathmandu's disaster recovery plan. The company also used its technology to repair the city's streetlights. During a natural disaster, Some of the critical power requirements include the necessity for medical equipment to function, food storage facilities to prevent food spoiling, and lights for rescue personnel. Food and water may be carried in, but electricity needs to be rebuilt, which could take days, weeks, or even months in Puerto Rico. It was late 2017 when the Hurricane Maria decided to devastate Puerto Rico, and the pace of attempts to get the island back to normal was painfully slow. Nearly a year later, up to 62,000 people, or 5% of the total population, were still without electricity. What? Hold on. Nearly a year later, up to 62,000 people, or 5% of the total population, were still without electricity. This is not only a nuisance for those who must live in the dark, but also perhaps dangerous. And it goes on. At this point, Tesla started providing its solar products to aid the devastated region. Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla, provided hundreds of Powerwall battery systems to bigger areas of the islands as part of the disaster relief and restoration operations, which started with powering a children's hospital in San Juan that serviced about 3,000 children until the main electricity infrastructure is rebuilt and fully functional. These batteries can be used in conjunction with the solar arrays that are currently present on the islands to power microgrids. Although the process of repairing Puerto Rico's infrastructure was especially difficult, most natural disasters cause power outages that last for a while. Think we need a break in a moment. While quick grid recovery is the ideal solution, solar power can serve as another fast, temporary solution.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45. Big money bingo! It's here again when the Argentina netballers present Big Money Bingo with Vincent Casanova. Win big cash prizes of $100,000 from our sponsors: Carrot Choice Pharmacy, Bright Diamond Funeral Services and Supplies, Affirm Ambulance Service, Globe Scope Travel Vacations, and 876 Nurses. Prizes and surprises from Cows Manufacturing, Yummy Bakery, the Educational Network. Get your tickets now at RGR Gleaner, 32 Lyndhurst Road, and the Gleaner Company for only $1,500. Only $1,500. Big Money Bingo! Friday, August 2, 2024 at 7 North Street. You hear? August 2, 7 North Street, starting at 7 p.m. with DJ Zaya. Enough vibes, prizes, and surprises at Big Money Bingo! Power 106 FM, the digital sound, and now reaching you in more ways. Listen to us on 106.1 to 106.9 on the FM band. You can also listen to us on the Power 106 FM app, which you can download on the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can tune in on your mobile phones by dialing 631-359-8281 if you're in the US. And if you're in the UK, you can dial 0330-606-0953. Plus, listen to us on onespotmedia.com and the One Spot Media app, or log on to go-jamaica.com. Power 106 FM, where all views can contend, giving you powerful talk radio in so many ways, on air and online.
We can't thank Franklin MacDonald enough for the data he continues to supply to us here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. So we're keeping the restoration dialogue going and looking at some of the available technologies. And no doubt there's more to come. And let's just pick it up at this point. Solar power systems can be sent to a disaster region, put up there, and start generating a lot of electricity in a matter of hours, much like water bottles and MREs can, with the extra benefit of offering a safe and ecologically responsible substitute for battery-powered lights and gas generators. It can also save lives. Numerous solar power systems in Western nations have survived the strongest cyclones and hurricanes, including Tesla and Maria, according to surveys and research conducted there. In order to create temporary microgrids in the disaster-affected areas until the primary energy networks could be rebuilt and restored, the authorities used portable solar systems and appliances with easy installation. The first time that solar power was used for disaster relief was back in 1988 when Hurricane Hugo affected the southeastern United States, Puerto Rico, Guadeloupe, and St. Croix. Solar panels versus common natural disasters. Here's another subject. A major concern for homeowners is whether or not their house is adequately prepared for emergencies like natural disasters. Your home's complete protection should be a key priority. And you're considering purchasing a portable solar panel to power your house, you might be wondering if solar panels can withstand severe weather. Well, that is coming up. Listen up. Solar panels and thunderstorms. Thunderstorms may produce hail, tornadoes, and lightning, which are all dangerous. But how do they affect portable solar panels? The first thing to note is that metal racking on solar panels does not increase the risk of lightning striking your home or cause solar panels to attract lightning. Homeowners are at risk from lightning, but installing solar panels on your house will not make the risk go away. Other factors, if and how vulnerable your house is to lightning. The average solar panel can reduce wind gusts of up to 140 miles per hour since they are made to resist heavy winds. In hurricane-prone locations like Nova Scotia and Quebec in Canada, where the average tornado speed is 30 to 120 miles per hour, the portable solar panels are designed to be even more robust. Your solar panels shouldn't be blown off the racking by shouldn't be blown off the racking by a tornado if they were put properly. Manufacturers of solar panels test their products to determine whether they can endure natural disasters like hailstorms. A significant hailstorm struck the National Renewable Energy Laboratory in 2017. I believe that's in Canada. Only one panel out of almost 30,000 on the laboratory building was reported to have been shattered by a concentrated hailstone hit. Solar panels are designed to endure a lot of impact, even the kind of impact created by huge hailstones. Let's take a quick look. We're going to oh no, we still have a little time. Solar panels and earthquakes or hurricanes. The solar panels in hurricane-prone regions are even stronger. For instance, vulnerable states like Nova Scotia and Newfoundland in Canada have strict wind codes that ensure that solar panels are designed to withstand categories 4 and 5 hurricanes. This means that once again, as long as the panels are properly installed, they can endure hurricanes and earthquakes. Solar panels versus conventional generators for natural disasters. Many individuals use gas generators for emergency power during disaster and outages. Gas generators may be a great option for short-term power demands, but they require fuel, are highly noisy, and can release hazardous gases. Solar panels with solar battery storage might be the best option if you're seeking a more environmentally friendly approach to power your house in times of need. As they offer long-term freedom without depending upon noisy fossil fuel generators, solar panels are a great investment. Here are the top 4 benefits of solar power over gas-powered generators. 1. Minimal maintenance. Generators run on fuel and will require frequent replenishment during crises. This necessitates many journeys to gas stations under dangerous conditions to buy more gasoline during extended blackouts, in addition to actively replenishing gas tanks and carrying out routine maintenance inspections. And during prolonged crises, then refill distribution. When refill distribution is challenging, gasoline might run out. Portable solar panels and their batteries have no moving components and require little to no maintenance during their useful lives. So that's minimal maintenance. How about cost effectiveness? The expense of using a generator tends to pile up quickly when making sure you have sufficient fuel to get you through a natural catastrophe. Although battery-backed solar systems might be expensive upfront, they have minimal ongoing costs. As such, buying a portable solar panel can considerably lower your long-term expenses pertaining to disaster preparedness. Clean and noiseless power. Let's look at that portion. The majority of city dwellers are accustomed to hearing the buzz of gas-powered generators in nearby houses and businesses as soon as the lights go out. Solar systems reduce the majority of the grating sounds connected with conventional generator power, producing energy in a very quiet manner. Meanwhile, gas generators produce stinky, potentially hazardous gases throughout the power generating process. Solar energy is fully emission free. This not only helps reduce global warming, which in turn increases the frequency and risk of natural disasters, but also protects the health of the local populations. Anything that can be done to reduce the use of fossil fuels will ultimately benefit the entire humanity. And then they go on to outline energy independence, portable solar panels for emergency power during disasters, and we will do our best to read the rest in our spare time. But at this moment, can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, for today, Tuesday, the 23rd of July, 2024. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care.
I confide in letting you know that I've come for a sunny night. Where a star is shining. When the moon comes riding, I can hear you then, my darling. I can hear Jamaica calling, calling through you and me.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
Audio gone?
News, comprehensive, powerful, and credible. Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's News at 5.
Bye.
Good afternoon. I am Dervan. Coming up in the news segment of Beyond the Headlines.